same language. They know what, whales are. They know what grinders are. They know which are the right tier one collections, which are the other tier two collections. Well, what are the thoughts on art versus gaming versus PFPs? And that's actually really fascinating, right? I never got to see this. Even when I was doing mobile games, like mobile games still had a lot of culture to it. And it was actually funny because a lot of the people I were hanging out with were like, from Europe or Middle East. And they were a little bit around my age or a little bit younger. And the funny thing was is that, when they all, were learning about my background, I told them one of the games I worked on, and they're like, "What? That was like the only game I played." And it was pretty funny because our metrics were crazy in the Middle East and parts of Europe as well. And it was so cool to see these users actually come to me and say, like, "No, I actually really played your game. I loved it." But even when I was building those Web2 games, they all had like a slightly different cultural perspective to that game. But when it comes to NFTs, it's almost all the same, which I think is super cool because it's like it's a era of technology that brought all cultures on board at the same time, right? Because a good example of like the delta in mobile, it's I am Indian. I probably sound more white and American than most humans do, but my parents are Indian. They're from India, and the crazy thing is, right, is that most of my family in India um, didn't really get to play my games when they first came out because smartphones weren't as accessible back in 2012, 2013 in India. They were there, don't get me wrong, but they weren't massively accessible, right? And that was crazy, right? Is that there was this huge cultural gap. I even remember as a kid when I went to India the first time. I was very lucky. My mom worked really hard. I didn't grow up with a lot, but she worked hard to give us a lot. And one of the things I got was like one of those very early stage MP3, MP4 video players, right? So it's not only to hold your songs on it, but it also played movies and stuff. And I always kept a bunch of episodes of different shows. And it was funny. I ended up in like my part of India where I am introducing all these people to one of my favorite shows at that time, which is South Park. They had never seen South Park before. It was a totally different thing. They've seen The Simpsons, right? But South Park really had never made it to them at that time. And I essentially had to, introduce, uh, the this cultural phenomenon of South Park to them, and it kind of rooted from there. And then, like afterwards, a lot of people in that area are now all huge South Park fans, and they all attribute it to me because I gave them my MP4 player, and I had like at the time I had like 100 episodes I put on it. It was nuts, right? But it was crazy that the technology had this huge cultural gap, right? And they couldn't play my games, they couldn't watch the same content, they didn't have the same access in the previous era. But with crypto, right, what's amazing about it is that we all are able to come in relatively at the same time because all you really need is some type of smartphone device or a laptop and access to internet. And the timing from a market perspective, I mean, there's over, I don't know, 8 billion mobile devices now, right? There's more mobile devices than humans at the moment right now, which is a crazy metric if you think about that, right? And then same thing, the ubiquitous nature of internet access is way more accessible than it was, say, 10 years ago. That it's created this pretty interesting opportunity where culturally we can all be the same, right? And again, this was kind of already seen in the era of like, Reddit or, if you've been part of some of these internet social networks. But this is a real technology shift that is also at the same cultural timeline and cultural appreciation across the globe. It's a really phenomenal thing to see. AI will also be somewhat like that, but AI's knowledge also, and it's going to be interesting to see how ubiquitous AI becomes. But also very fascinating to be happening at the same time. So I bring this all up to you guys because this is also the power of crypto and like why we're still bullish on crypto, right? And the reason why it all comes down to is the fact that when crypto works, when it breaks through, the whole world could be using it, right? Whether it be for payments, whether it be for some DeFi protocol, whether it be for some gaming tool, whether it be for some collectible asset, when it works, we could bring the whole era of the internet over, right? Which is just a phenomenal thing to think out loud about, right? It really, truly is. And this is why I get really excited because, what is my goal now is figure out what tips the market over. What tips the market over to bring all those individuals at the same time? And that's why like gaming or interactive entertainment is so high on that list because every time we've looked at the history of technology shifts, gaming's played a very large role, right? Games really introduced like PC technology to a lot of people. Games are a huge part of mobile technology as well, right? And moreover, what you start recognizing is there's going to be a huge aspect of games playing some role, or at least gamification playing some role in the world of crypto onboarding. And it's already there, right? Blur is just a game. It's a trader game, right? We might call it a marketplace, but when you have economics, points, profiles, leaderboards, social systems, social rank, dynamic variables changing based off liquidities and auctions and bids. Like this is more of a game than most games, right? Which is kind of crazy, right? And this is what most people don't understand is that this market is already being built to be a game. The question now is what's a game worth scaling and sticking? And I think that's where I'm much more excited about the opportunity still ahead. But there's a lot of work, right? And there's a lot of work because this comes to like my most important question that I was like really talking to over the weekend with, these varying collectors. Some were major whales, some were just like I got wrecked and by just like minting 5 or 10 things. And I wanted to see the spectrum, but we always came down to one question. Is anything real in Web3? Is there anything worth it in Web3 that is needed without Web2, right? That is, that could have been done without it being in Web2. And I thought that was a really poignant question, right? Because again, this is what it all comes down to. And even the term Web3 and Web2 are poisoned. I hate using them, but they are the best ways to overarch the arguments or, connect these arguments in an overarching manner. And when I say, is there anything real in Web3, right? I'm really asking is, did anything we build need the new technologies here? Or did we just build it and add extra steps because we tricked ourselves into thinking, oh, yeah, us being able to trade it, i.e., ownership, is valuable, right? And that's a very important question. And I think this is actually where I started to realize like my other big insight is that yes, Web3 unlocks ownership, but I don't think anyone in Web3 has truly turned ownership into a valuable property yet, right? The only thing we've turned is a liquid market behind the concept of ownership and allowing traders to play this game. And don't get me wrong, we all have traders inside of ourselves, right? When there's a financial, input into a transaction, there is some trade analysis of the ROI and value that it brings to us, whether it be buying a coffee for $5 or $6, right? Or whether it be buying a JPEG for hundreds or thousands of dollars, right? There's always a trade-off calculation being made. But what I hope to kind of figure out is what has this ownership truly unlocked? Well, what you could say and make the argument, but most people that are not in Web3 or like, that are outside of crypto will probably balk at, but it is true. The only thing ownership has really created is a new status symbol. That's really all it's created. But there's value in that. Status matters when we live in a world of social creatures, right? A status has always mattered, right? Your status has mattered in luxury goods specifically, right? The idea of rocking a Louis Vuitton bag, right, has a lot of merit and status. And it's not because Louis Vuitton is selling for $1,000+ that, that I know it has status. The way I know it has status is because there's tons of people. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry to make fake Louis Vuitton, right? People are willing to pay for the fake stuff to be able to aspire to be of that status at a fraction of the cost, right? And that's kind of where you actually know the market values economically that status, right? When there's a essential black market created for that asset. Don't get me wrong, the creation of a black market does not be the only reason why status is created, but it is one way of measuring that as well. And digital status does matter, right? Digital identity has always mattered, but we never really had status outside of what we would say is arbitrary vanity metrics like follower count, right? So status already existed in the digital era. It was like, how many people are following you, bro? How many likes are you getting, right? How many impressions are you reaching, right? Like that was your status, right? Even like early Facebook days, it was cool to have more friends, right? Which was stupid as fuck, right? Like, why would you want to introduce so many random people into your net circle, right? But it was a status symbol. Oh, I got 500 friends. Oh my god, right? Even on LinkedIn, it's still a status. It's crazy. These people are literally go crazy when they go out like, "Oh my god, I got 100 or 250 people here as well." And I think this is kind of where the challenge actually is, right? And this is where again the next step has to come in is where does ownership really go? And Black Nicholson says, there are people making money off their IP usage. No, there really aren't. There's not that many people who are making meaningful money. Almost all of them are going to zero, and the closest ones that have it have not returned the net off of their initial deal. There are times where you will see smaller deal structures coming in the bull market, right? But like in the bear, it's almost near zero, right? And there's services that are creating it, right? But what people don't realize is, when you say not many, you're saying, okay, only 0.0001% of the market is that meaningful? Is that interesting? No, you're actually proving the point that right ownership really wasn't needed here as well, right? And this is kind of what sucks in this market, right? Is that we're promised this idea, and that's the problem. Is like ownership comes with a lot of strings because if you want to monetize it, right? Like no one really recognizes how much time it takes, right? The partnership costs it takes, what is the actual terms of those deals, be able to review the legal side of it, and whether or not you're going to hit minimum guarantees for return. What a lot of people get tricked in is like there's a lot of larpers who are thinking about it as well too, right? Is that they're not actually making real money, they just pretend to, right? Like ICOB says, right? Although I do want some monkey weed, that does sound pretty good at this point. But honestly, in the grand scheme of things in a bear market, most people don't realize IPs don't have value because here's the other truth. Why would I, as a company, license your IP, right? Why, when I could go buy it directly? If you're a competent company, just go buy your IP. You would always want to own that from a legal perspective. What a lot of people don't realize here is that no smart company is licensing IP unless you're a top 1% rare, right? That's about it. And even that, it's very minimal. Like almost all these deals have now fallen off the table where they don't exist anymore. They only were there in the bull market. They don't really exist in the bear market. And dude, tons of people have lost money. And that's what a lot of people don't realize as well is that tons of people have lost money doing IP deal structures, right? Because they either had to fund some of the deal in order to get their IP introduced and the projects don't follow through, right? So the question then begs is then does ownership mean anything? And you start kind of struggling here at this point, and you struggle here in this market is that too many people are getting tricked into thinking ownership matters outside of the ownership to trade it for someone else for more money. That's really it. That's all that exists at this point, right? Ownership hasn't really unlocked other game assets in a meaningful way. ownership hasn't really unlocked physical access in that many ways. There are people who've tried, but again, most of it isn't. Mainly because again, solving for physical utility is so hard for a global market as well. And this is again where like the market keeps getting trapped because they think these are true. When in reality, ownership is a trick to get you to give them money. That's what it's really turned into. It's a trick of being able to get upfront capital to allow you then to have the perception of ownership and then be able to trade that against more speculative ownership value. And in reality, that just truly hasn't happened, right? And of course, there'll always be outliers and deals here as well too. But really, what you want to recognize is that in the end, ownership hasn't come with many benefits outside of a liquidity swap to another holder that needs to bag hold, right? And that's where this market then struggles is then is any of this real? Or is it just who knows how to bag hold the worst and or best, or who knows how to bot, right? The best bets, right? And flip them over short term. And that's where then this concept of ownership, and this is where I was trying to make the case of why maybe ownership isn't real, is that you could really recognize one thing is like, is ownership real when the best trader strategy right now is mint and flip in the first 48 hours? Right? Like, and what I mean by that is that if ownership if the best economic return model only wants you to own for like only tells you to own for 2 days, what it's really saying is don't own anything, right? To be honest, you should go well like take a loan out for funds to mint and flip those assets and repeat over and over and over again, right? And this becomes another thing. And then the other funny thing that we were talking about is then, someone else also made the argument like, well, hey, I heard Board Ape was doing some stuff. I know a few of my friends did this stuff. And, I thought it was like an interesting question. And then it really, really came back to me. I was like, does IP rights matter if you give IP rights to everyone? Right? Like what does your brand ever hit a sense of like luxury status if anyone can use it? Right? If you can go sell like a Board Ape t-shirt at I don't know where there's like 5 or 6 of them that have been licensed to guys like Aeropostale or whatever the names of these, kid youth companies are. I'm not hip anymore. And like they could sell it for $15. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's interesting. It's a very interesting concept because is it actually helping your IP with more impressions or is it hurting your IP by diluting the value of the asset and how it's being applied? Right? Like, would Louis Vuitton, if I told Louis, hey, let's go build a $25 Louis Vuitton purse, right? A clutch, right? But we sell it for $25 and it's going to get you 100 million impressions. Would you do it? I don't think they would, right? Of course they wouldn't realistically, right? The only reason for that is their value and their IP is in the luxury status as well. And yeah, exactly. They don't want reputation to be lost. And pricing anchoring is a huge important factor when it comes to luxury brands. And that might need to be a factor as well if you want luxury digital NFTs as well. So the challenge here in the end now is what can ownership actually unlock? And I think the best argument for ownership right now is still the country club model, right? The best like ownership out there is well, hey, Wicklander, how much did this t-shirt cost? He just posted one here. I'm curious, I can't see the tag. Board of Directors is the name of it, the company. Interesting. What did this cost? Like $20? $25? Probably $15, yeah. Interesting. $12 Saint. Oh man, it looks worn, geez. Yeah, it is funny. It is pretty interesting to see kind of this IP go out. And it's kind of interesting because now like Board Ape, I don't think they have any interest to go into fashion, so it's okay. But now it becomes interesting to see whether or not this is something that can retain a luxury status if it's acceptable and accessible to all. Which is also an interesting question. I'm not saying it should be one or the other, but the question is can it be both? And in most cases, luxury has told us it cannot be both. The closest thing that I've seen to kind of going both ways is like guys who create sub brands of sub brands, right? Like Armani. Armani known for really high end suits. Then you kind of have like Armani Exchange. You have Emporio Armani. So there's kind of these different sub brands and sub brands and sub brands that have different price points where you could probably get like Armani Exchange at like your local Ross at times, right? Or Marshalls, right? Something like that. So, what's kind of interesting now is that, is there a way to divide and conquer with this ownership to be able to get to this wide funnel user base? And honestly, it's been a real hard struggle for a lot of these guys. And this is kind of where the challenge just kind of begs is ownership still a myth? Is ownership just a way for us to buy and trick ourselves into the future value of this IP? But in reality, all we're getting is another JPEG to trade, and that's it. And that's honestly where I think the market is kind of stalled, right? And when the market is already stalled there, the question then begs is, okay, then how do you actually make ownership matter? Right. And this is kind of where it became interesting because there are a few elements of ownership that are working that I do want to talk about on the flip side. Right. One is ownership of like community and access to community. By owning this asset, you get into this digital club. I actually think that's somewhat relevantly strong and true, right? It is the version. I don't think anyone who uses the term Soho House should get shot, right? Everyone tries to do that. Also, anyone who uses the group like the term Illuminati should also get shot. It's not like that. No one should be aiming to build one of those. If you think like, oh, we're the Soho House of Web3, get out of here, right? Like you don't understand anything of their business model or your business model as well. But if you understand, like, hey, there is digital human capital and identities here collected around a root identity, you could then build relationships between those individuals to foster more value in a digital manner that could also manifest in physical manner could be really powerful, right? And I think there's something really intriguing about that because I've already seen it happen. Within Diamonds, I've seen numerous people connect not only digitally but also in person, right? To be able to build new relationships, new business, new partnerships, etc. Right. And to be honest, it's even something I want to amplify even more. I've seen this well in like the gods or ex gods or ex gods, right? Which is their 10 plus holders of the gods. I've seen this in MVP. I've seen this in a couple other major tier one like collector groups, which I think is really powerful as well. And it's not just about, oh, let's just go meet and hang out and be friends. Like that's cool, I guess. Like don't get me wrong. But it's more about like, can you connect and create collective value together? Can you build collective value together? Can you lead to business value creation of one another? Can you lead to growth value for one another? Right. And if you could unlock that, there's actually something really powerful because again, the forming of digital identities and digital friendships can be as strong, if not stronger, than physical friendships, right? Which is really interesting, like IRL friendships, right? Like, and I've seen this not just in Web 3, I saw this in Web 2. Oh my God, if I could tell you the amount of hours certain people would play on games and how strong their friendships would become within, the other gamers they play with, right? I mean, again, if you played even just not even mobile games, but if you played like Call of Duty, or played on like different games on Steam, right? I'm sure there's people who are on your friend list on Xbox Live or Steam that you met 5, 10 years ago, and there's a meaningful connection you created there here as well, right? And I think this is kind of the more promising thing here as well is that I'm excited to see how those relations can be fostered even more. Like, and that's a major thing that Tribe is working on is that I want this ownership to mean something more, right? Ownership shouldn't just be like, oh, you get this ownership and you'll get promises of future value in return. It's like, oh, here's your ownership and here's the way you can unlock it right now, right? If you could start building stuff in that kind of design, oh, I think it could get really powerful. I think it could get really exciting. And I think it could get really meaningful as well. So this is kind of where we're now like trying to figure out, okay, then how does ownership extend past that? So one of the other elements of ownership that gets really, really further than that is ownership of the story and the journey. Right. What's really exciting, what's happening in Reapers is that you guys are having unprecedented access to design the project prior to mint. Honestly, no one's done something like this before. Like, and it's a lot. Like, you guys realize you just chose who the first asset is going to be. Like, you're choosing the primary Genesis asset. Congratulations, you guys have chosen animals. Animals will be the first thing. That means like we are now going to work. Like, literally, our team is now going to go work to get animals getting ready to make sure they're ready for the Genesis asset. And then your next vote, just a little bit of alpha here. I mean, alpha. I'm just not even alpha. That's an overstated term. Just a little bit of an early look. Your next vote is going to choose, right, what is going to be the next key piece of the roadmap, right? Which is, I think, really, really exciting. You actually are going to choose not only the launch strategy, you're now going to choose what is the next thing we're going to prioritize in the roadmap, which is insane that you as a collective holder base will be able to do that. And then by owning and creating this journey, the other cool thing is that you're going to have this very interesting mint structure that will give you a free option. So the great thing is there is always a free option available. But the other cool thing is the royalty share. You guys become creators yourself, so you can now participate in royalty share. And that's true ownership. You are technically getting a percentage of the royalty yield or the value of the equity that is being built around the IP and is being distributed back to you. Albeit it's a small number, but the crazy thing is, to a certain extent, you are getting the recurring revenue share while Tribe is not, which is kind of insane, right? And it's this really interesting thing here as well because it's just pushing the boundaries of ownership. Ownership should be more than just, hey, I built this for you, take it. Ownership should be like, hey, we built this together. Let's see how we grow it together, right? That is actually the real key insight I started to land on after all of these conversations because why were all these major whales complaining? Is just they felt they had no input. They felt they had no input. So they always felt they were getting overlooked consistently. Like, do you know like how furious like Azuki whales are? Like people don't realize this. Like Azuki whales are so furious because you know what Azuki told them on the last mint? They told him, "We don't give a fuck that you collect our rares. We treat everyone the exact same." Bro, that is the worst way to treat a whale community. Right? And what do I mean by this? Well, A, there was no bonuses or amplifications in value if you held rares. There was no bonuses or amplification if you held multiple ones. It was one Azuki, one airdrop. So it didn't matter if your shit was a four or a spirit, you got the same yield as well. Right? And the crazy thing is, right, here's the crazy thing is that one of the whales I talked to who had over 50 Azukis and multiple rares. Like he has three spirits and like tons of rares. Like 25, 30 of his are all top rares. And the crazy thing is that he didn't even get a single tier 4 beam. Right? He had 50 drops and the odds, for God knows what reason, were against him. Didn't get a single tier 4 beam, right? As well, like just to rub it in his fucking wounds, right? Like, hey, we fucked you, right? And we're gonna fuck you a little bit more on the RNG. And do you know how insane that is? Do you know if I went to Dior, right? And Dior's like, hey, we're gonna invite everyone to get one free garment. And it doesn't matter if you spent $1,000 or $100,000 or $1,000,000. You all get the same one free garment. Here you go. Do you know how pissed those top whales would be? Those top spenders. It's like you are taking my exclusivity, my commitment to your brand, and you are not giving me any fair upside to it at all. Right? How could that be? And this is actually the failure of most of the market when it comes to understanding the theory of luxury ownership. is that yes, you should still give access to all, but there should be weighted access to those at the top. And Azuki missed that as well. And it's furious because what does it make these, what do all these whales now think, right? What do all these whales now think? They're like, why would I ever commit to buying rares again? Honestly, I should just buy one rare for identity and I should buy the rest should be floors. That's it. And and of course, I mean Azuki had a lot of other fuck ups there. But they were already pissed before the reveal. Then reveal came. Oh my god. Right? It's only gonna be a whole nother layer. And this is why it became really, really difficult for this market because then it makes them start questioning what's the point of owning, right? Because think about it, it's like any asset class. If I owned a home in this area that is worth $200,000, and I had a home in this area for that's worth $1 million, and the government was giving out home grants, and they were all going to be based off the fact is did you own one property or not? Didn't take into account the value, the size, the location. People would be pissed. Everyone would be pissed because that's not how ownership works, right? And this is kind of where again why I think Web3 has failed on the concept of ownership because they don't actually understand the concept of ownership. Same thing, like, dude, Yuga did a little bit of an okay job of giving out some weights, right? But the weights were not on rarity in each of the collections. The weights were based off did you own an OG ape, a mutant ape, right? A kennel, right? Those were the weights that they created, right? But nothing else, right? And that's kind of where like the challenge in this market ends up coming, right? Is that, hey, anyone who doesn't understand this, what they're not going to realize very quickly is that they are not getting any additional value for having the rares, having the top rares, paying 10x, 20x, 30x floors. So this is also something you need to think as a collector. Should you ever be buying rares, right? And the truth is, and here's the honest truth, you shouldn't. The only time you should buy rares is when you can afford top 1% rares, right? Like grail rares. But economically, you should actually just buy the bottom 1% of the collection, right? Which is floors, right? And that's it, right? And that's kind of the crazy thing here with all of this design and the structure is God, I really love that phrase. I say it so much now. It's just my clutch as I transition between phrases. But when you look at that, it is so interesting though, because I look back and I've realized almost no one has weighted value that truly represented ownership of the asset. If you actually want to get this thought right, you actually have to distribute ownership of yield based off floor traits, right? What is the floor price of that trait, of that asset, right? And you almost need to start qualifying that to a certain extent if you want to make this work. Like, imagine if Yuga was actually doing right floor trades and you got way more for having a rare fur, way more for having a gold eight. It would put the ownership value of those assets way stronger. But they don't even give you that yield, right? They don't even give you that yield on staking. So then why are you owning rares? Why are you owning the luxury part when you could be owning the floor part? You should always own the floor then, if this is the way that the economic model of ownership is going to work. And this is the challenge because again, I don't think the concept of ownership has actually been realized in Web3. Just because it's in your wallet is just like the oh, you own it, you can transfer it, you could burn it, congratulations, you're an owner. Like, I don't think that's enough. That's like the bare minimum, but that's literally what is the maximum most projects are doing. So you have to figure out how do I put more ownership value on this asset? So let me show you how we've been doing it, right? With diamonds, it's been really interesting, right? Diamonds is okay, you own the asset, huzzah, great, right? But what was our number one thing is I want you to own like an access gate. What a diamond is that it's actually going to represent all of your access to the world of Web3 as we know it. And being an owner of that means that you're going to get access to more circles, right? And that means more mints, more projects, more value in that way. And that's why, again, the something is minting was created to be able to get us allocation. It led to some knowledge stuff as well, which is also really important. The second area that I want to start building even stronger, and to be honest, we're very mid at it at the moment right now. We want to get better, is fostering more connection and value amongst them. The good thing is we're already one of the most active like whale chats out here as well. And those are kind of there, where it gets really, powerful is that we can essentially start bringing in, real ways to connect with one another and form, like more partnerships, more connection, more interaction at a deeper level outside of the chat. That's actually the metric I care about. How much do you guys talk to each other outside of the diamond chat? That's actually a major metric that I'm keeping in the back of my mind that I want to build for as well. Tribe also gives you ownership as a Genesis factory asset, which will hopefully start giving you guys yield with these kind of pieces coming out from our first party projects as well. And then, also shortly, you're going to see, the ownership means that you get, if you have ownership, like, shouldn't you get a part of like the collective yield that we generate, right? Which is also where like the tribe vault is going to come in, right? And the tribe vault's still like growing. It has assets and stuff like that. But again, we want to keep growing it even further so that this concept of ownership is multifaceted, right? And that's just the start. Then other cool things, we're giving them ownership of choices. Diamonds are actually going to get to choose certain elements of each collection and what's going out first and what they want us to prioritize, right? And that's kind of where it gets really powerful because we've now solved for them at the top layer, and then now we're spreading that even further through Soul, right? And Soul now gets these distributed rewards, and the rewards are still very huge and still very meaningful, right? And it means allocation to projects, it means whitelist, it means relics, it means village, it means all of the above, right? And it also means like education, right? Like as we move to a gated Discord this month, you'll see, right, that access will become more internal. And this is where ownership starts getting really powerful. Because in the end, why has the concept of ownership never been realized? Is because of this real dark truth. You've been sold a JPEG at the same cost of equity, but you didn't get equity with it. You just bought a purely funded asset that gives you no votes, no ownership, no upside to the actual business in 99.9% of cases, right? You guys realize how much cash Yuga is sitting on? Like, you guys don't get to get access to it. The closest thing you'll get from Yuga is them distributing a shitty token that made them even more profit that you are propping up with your money as well. But again, it wasn't like Yuga putting in their huge amount of their own capital to fund that market cap. No, that's not how any of this worked. You all just became their ability to make more money off of you and distribute that to their investors and shareholders as well at a very large clip for them to make more money off of you. And go look at that token and let me know how you think about Apecoin. So what you start realizing very quickly and very directly is that this market has gotten super disappointing, right? This market has gotten super weak because what is the point of ownership without equity? That's actually what you want to think. What is the point of ownership without the underlying asset value? It's nothing. It's a fraction of that value, right? And because of that, when it's a fraction of that value means that you get a fraction of the return. And when you're getting the fraction of a return, you have to then question, why the fuck are we even here? Is anything real in Web3? Right? That's like me trying to sell my neighbor's house. And just because I give you a fake contract with it doesn't mean you now get access to the house, right? And this is kind of like where a lot of people don't recognize here is that this market has let you down because they haven't been real with you, right? Like they haven't been real with you. And that's what I also want to change here too. Because don't get me wrong, I can't solve all these problems that I'm noting. But what I can do is I can make you aware of these problems and show you how we're trying to improve some of them so that you come in with a more transparent and real perspective of what you're getting. You want to know what true ownership is? It's when both parties know exactly what they're getting at the point of transfer and still feel it's fair. That's true ownership. That's true market value. That's true cooperation. And what I would argue in this first wave of Web3, 99.999% of the time, we did not know, one party did not know what they were getting. And unfortunately, that party usually is the consumer, right? It was us, the bag holders, right? That got the short end of the stick. There's only one scenario in Web3 that does have an outlier to this. And this is the important outlier here, right? And that outlier, right, is generative art. It's art and photography as well, right? That is the only category because what you see is actually what you get. And the true ownership principles work there, right? Right? The art should hold some value over time in that perspective, right? And exactly, right? Like there's some value in that world that is still maturing. There's still a lot to get right, and also a lot of the art in Web3 still overpriced, and honestly, a lot of it's still garbage. But it is the thing that is working. Because you're right, Conwick. Like, what sucks is that, yeah, we bought thousands of dollars of NFTs to get access to buy shitty merch that we could make ourselves. Bro, like, I can make 10x better merch right now for 99% of these companies, right? Right? Like, literally, 99% of these companies, I could do it right now. Like, I don't even understand what they're doing. Like, I really don't. Like, I was just playing around and I just made like my own custom one of one like varsity jacket. It looks sick. It looks dope. I'm like, bro, and this did not cost that much money to do it. I'm like, what are these companies doing? They can't even get this. Most of the merch sucks in Web3 too. Can I be very honest with you? Right? And we're going to show one of our first like physical creations in a couple of weeks here. One of the cool things is we're going to give out some awards for like people who contributed very meaningfully in season one. There'll be like 20 awards going out, and we have a nice little physical gift for each of them. Right? And it only took us a couple months or 2, 3 months to fully get it right. And the cool thing is that we're just doing it for free. We just want to give it back to our community. And I think it's going to look better than 99.99% of things. But, in the end, you have to ask yourself is that did I own anything? Right? Was anything real in Web3 in this first phase? And what you'll realize is you probably didn't, right? You really didn't. Because what you got sold was the concept of ownership, but really all you got was the ability or the right to sell this shit to another bag holder that you tricked about the value of ownership. Right? And that's kind of the thing, right? Is like it just comes down to who's going to bag hold last or who's going to still believe in this ownership, right? And it's funny because like you're seeing a few of these projects trying to make returns, trying to figure out it. And don't get me wrong, there's great stuff, but what am I really left with in Web3 at this point? Like when it comes to PFPs? Like honestly, all I'm betting now on is great art and like consistent builders. That's it. That's all I really want. I want great art and consistent builders. That's all I want to do. I want to keep scaling this. I want to keep building this. I want to keep introducing this in a way where at least I can bet on the art. At least I can bet on the opportunity. At least I can scale right along the way. And at the same time, I can bet on builders who continually give us more and more value, right? More and more value. And then maybe then they will be able to unlock a deeper definition for ownership, a deeper definition of value, a deeper definition of understanding of why we are positioning ourselves here. And what I'm really excited about and where I'm trying to get this to the next level here for this entity is that I want to push this ownership of, push this concept of ownership even further. And I want you guys to all think about it as well. What would it mean to own more of this world? What would it mean to actually feel like a true owner of this asset? Is Reapers getting closer to that? At least if you get to own the story, how does that change? Does that actually, is that interesting? Is it just a plus one? What does it mean? Does the creator royalty share make a difference? Does the choice of roadmap make a difference? Does the fact that we get to debate about these ideas with your peers make a difference? There's no wrong answer. Those are the questions for you to ask yourself as you participate in these experiences as well, right? And that's just kind of why it becomes really difficult in this structure, right? And in the end, right, like, I know what people want, right? And exactly Wild West crypto, it's equity. You're not going to get equity until you start running a registered crowdfunding service here, right? And the truth is most startups don't want to give equity. They want to turn you into consumers because with equity comes more restrictions on how that capital must be allocated. And again, with equity means you must dox, right? Which is tough. Most people don't wanna do that here as well, which is really, really a struggle, right? And, like, generally, this is the hard part is, I don't mind people not doxing. I don't think that's an issue personally to me, right? Like, I'm soft doxed, right? It's not hard to find out who I am. But, like, I'm not here, like, prancing around with my core name and identity because I don't think that's even fun. Like, my Web2 identity is so boring. My Web3 identity is way more fun, right? Way more fun, right? But, not hard to find out who I am. The question really is when we're scaling and when you want equity, the requirements of running a business become very different, right? And the maturity that's needed for most of these businesses is really, really high. And unfortunately, we're not going to hit this bar here at all in this kind of market as well, too. So this is kind of why it gets really tough, right? In this market. Uh oh shit, dude. Senator Chef just shots fired by Senator Chef at you, ICOBs. You gonna take that, man? That was pretty rough. But as we kind of step back, I hope that you guys can have a more honest conversation of what it means to own these assets, right? What does it actually mean to own the assets in this world? Then ask yourself, how can ownership grow in a realistic way? And what would you want your projects to do in order to satisfy that need? And then lastly, ask yourself, if ownership will never equate to equity, what does the value of NFTs really mean to me? Right? Because it cannot be viewed as an investment in the business. You're not. It is a quote unquote PvP investment if you want to view it in those ways, but my legal does not want you to think of it in those ways. What we want you to think of it is you are buying a digital asset from us or gaining access to a digital asset from us, that it may be free. And in choosing that, you have the rights to do whatever you want with that asset afterwards, right? On that. So that's kind of how I always have to say it. So, then the other question is that beyond this, how much does community matter and access to a community matter is also a very interesting thing, right? Like you see those like corny phrases, right? Your net worth is your network, right? Like that kind of stuff. As corny as that thing is, it's true, right? To a lot of extent, building and getting access to more accessible humans is a very important thing in life and success. Like the amount, like people don't realize, right? Like I don't make a single dime off a tribe, right? Everything goes into the business. Everything goes into other employees. I do not take a salary or anything. But the crazy thing is, like, the amount of relationships I've built by building in Web3, whether it be diamond holders or other partners I've connected with along the way, it's led to huge fruitful relationships, partnerships, opportunities, experiences that I could have never imagined, right? Literally, that I could have never imagined, right? And there's huge value in that. And like I'm a little more antisocial than most because I'm just that weird dude who'd rather just work forever instead of anything else. But with that, right, what's been really powerful though is that I've been able to build better bridges to opportunities that I never would have had. And honestly, a lot of them are realizing on this trip as well, right? Like Monaco, I met a lot of people. In Paris, I've met a ton of people. In the next few places I'm going to, like Belgium and Amsterdam and Italy and Saudi and Dubai. It's primarily all Web3 connections as well. And that's kind of where I get really excited in the end because there is something true about being part and having access to a community. And the country club is actually one of the most powerful things. And this is going to be maybe a conversation here uh for the next conversation, right? Is that community and the clubhouse concept was one of the most important tools in the mid 1900s to early 1900s for wealth accumulation, right? And access accumulation in the US, right? And unfortunately in America, it was an incredibly sexist and racist structure, right? When it came to the traditional country club vibes, right? It was, clean cut white professional men, right? That was straight up getting the huge advantages of being able to connect with other, white men of power and privilege. Um, but ignoring all the racist and sexist shit that came from it, which is a problem, there was something really powerful that did happen is that in that concentration of knowledge and connections, they were able to amplify their wealth and opportunities quite a bit, right? Quite a bit. And because of that, there was that power. So what's beautiful about Web3 is that, same thing, is that you can now do it without, right, the primitives of design that we had in the first wave where it doesn't matter your race, it does not matter your sexual orientation, your sex, your age, even your physical boundary no longer matters anymore, right? No longer matters anymore. You could be anywhere you want, right? And this is kind of why I think it's really powerful is that if you could figure out this country club like framework and this global club like framework, you could actually get something really really powerful done, really really interestingly designed, and and that's kind of where I think ownership is going to take a pretty meaningful first step. And I think the other step is, as I mentioned, is ownership of the product. That's the other thing we're going to push, right? So it's ownership of community and ownership of product. Those are the two pillars that we want to offer to our community long term. And we think this is going to lead to something pretty cool, right? Like, at least something that I don't know that I would care about. What I mean by that is, I would spend enough time here every single day if I were getting that type of value back, right? If I was getting that type of value back, I would definitely be here. So I hope that's something that kind of spurs a little bit of a conversation, especially for you guys who are diamond holders. I'll be pushing this more to you guys, right? I want to push more ownership decisions to you guys, which is going to be really interesting, right? You already know one of the ownership decisions. You guys are going to get to choose Reapers or Oath, right? Which one's going to go out first? Which one do I prioritize between those two? You're also going to have like different choices on Ronin. You're going to have like direct control of some of the supply choices on Ronin, some of the business model choices on Ronin. You're also going to see some choices coming out on how we scale tabula rasa in the comic book business. And, same thing. We want to keep giving you guys more of these ownership options Because I think if we give you more of these ownership options, we could find interesting ways to give you ownership yield, right? Some ownership yield, right? And I think that's the powerful thing here is that if there is some type of ownership yield, then ownership starts feeling real. So creator royalties are the first element of ownership yield, right? We think that's a first start. We want to find more ways to do that, right? And because of that, it's all going to be really powerful and possible as we kind of scale out and get this vision right. So I hope that you guys could get a better understanding of how we're trying to like honestly build, right? And honestly trying to scale correctly, right? And this is why these Monday chats are very personal, right? Like they're very, very personal in how we're building because it's the honest truth I would tell you guys as customers. And this is actually the other beauty of ownership. And this is going to be the little huzzah moment here is that you get ownership of like idea creation. You get to be part, your ownership of owning a soul here actually get this huge opportunity, right, to be able to be a part of this world, right? Be part of this understanding, be part of this framework. And there's something powerful there. I'm not saying that we're going to be the next like Yuga or Airbnb or whatever multi-billion dollar startup there's out there. But maybe, just maybe if we do something right, wouldn't it be insane to say that you got to hear about all of these ideas, right? All of these concepts before all of this time, right? Like you got to hear it in the trenches, right? As it was being built. That's actually a really powerful thing. Is that that first look and access to the ownership of build is really interesting as well. So I hope that you can see that we're trying to push that, right? We're trying to scale this here. We're trying to find this idea here as well. Um, I mean, absolutely Wild West crypto. Like, I mean, the great thing is everything that we design does not have the implied security risks as other projects. And there's a lot of projects doing a lot of stupid things that would put them into the security conversation. We don't fall into that in a lot of good ways. But the other real reason is that it's not about skirting security. It's about understanding that we're giving you fair value for what you contribute, right? There's a lot of people who are not giving fair value, but pretending to offer fair value when you don't contribute in the hopes that it tricks you into buying their asset, right? And that's not actually our goal here, which is very interesting, right? Our goal is very different. Our goal is, hey, we're going to allow you to buy an asset that or claim an asset that actually you contributed to and you get fair access to, right? Because to be very blunt, if you gain access or buy a digital asset from us, I do not believe that entitles you to equity. That transfer does not entitle you to equity. It shouldn't entitle you to equity, right? And no one should present it to you like you're getting it like equity. I want to be very clear. This is what all the other dumb projects are doing in this space. They're trying to tell you this, like, we're gonna give you revenue share even though you did nothing except buy. Guess what? The SEC is fucking gonna call that shit out. There's no way that's actually going to work, right? And this is kind of why I think it's pretty insane in this market, right? That anyone is trying to actually, like, honestly, actually sell you on that concept. They should all, honestly, all just write a letter to the SEC, like, hey, in 5 years, come and get me. Because that's what they're doing, right? Like, and that's kind of the other thing that a lot of people don't recognize, right? Is that there's a lot of risks out there. So be careful when projects offer you this stuff. When anytime a project uses the term revenue share, run away, right? Like even I, like if I ever say it, like just know it's an accident. I don't want to say that. The only thing I say is creator royalty share. That is what we will offer you guys because you are now creators in a part of some of our projects, right? Also, the Tabula Rasa guys who have all these beautiful PFPs. What's so fucking cool about these guys is they created it. They directed our art team to do it. They are true creators in this journey. So it means that we could actually give them creator share in their value in a very different way, which is really cool. And they're going to see some really, really exciting things about it. So we have a lot of things cooking because we actually know the concepts that matter. And if we really want to bring a new layer of value to Web3, someone needs to redefine what ownership is and help consumers realize the value of it in a fair way. And if you can do this, you can get to something really, really bullish long term. You can get to something really, really exciting long term. And and this is where it is. I mean, kill him. As jokingly as you're saying this is what I created, dude, I'm telling you, there should be a way for like people to get rewarded for creating memes correctly. Like, imagine if you were like the guy who started a meme and there was a way to track that, and the more impressions it got, like you actually could generate revenue from it. Right? Like even the guy who created Pepe, right, would be crazy. Right? Unfortunately, he makes no money off that. He's tried to create a second collections and stuff like that to make some money off of it, but he doesn't get anything for that, right? Like that would be insane, right? On that front. But there is a model there, right? And they do want to figure out a way to kind of scale this out as well. Uh, Hema, this isn't related to that. I can talk about Ponz's and Plague's when utility coffee deal, which honestly I don't think is that interesting. I'm more than happy to give my own opinions on it. But I don't think that's like again for a whole different reason. That shit isn't real ownership, and I'll talk to you about it why in just a second. But before I do that, let me pause here. Let's head to the secret chamber and let me get you guys a sweet, sweet relic here. And this will be, of course, about the concept of ownership, is what I think yeah, this will be find your vibe ownership. I hope you guys just really think about this a little bit more. I don't know why, but I just want to trick you guys into thinking this stuff matters too. Alrighty then. The password is 64829. The password is 64829. Make sure you use the /secret function, guys. Remember, you gotta always use the commands here. 64829. Alrighty, you guys still have a few more seconds to be able to get that. Yeah, in regard to plagues, like when utility and the coffee deal, I'm personally not interested. I hope they got something else cooking, but the way they presented that deal is super uninteresting. Um, you know, uh, it is one of those things where, yeah, correct. Secret chamber is only for souls now. So that's already been part of the gating. So yeah, you must have a soul to be able to access the secret chamber and village at the moment right now. All right, let's keep going through this. So the problem is that um, with Plague, it doesn't look like they know the coffee business at all. They're over promising a vision that already sounds bad, right? Like the problem is that they're trying to say that they could turn this into a franchise. You guys realize how competitive the coffee industry is? Do you realize how much of like a grip that Starbucks has over them and over the entire industry? Like you thinking that you could get into franchises and like standalone cafes and robotic cafes is mind-boggling, right? And it's not going to work, right? And that market is so hard to enter, especially if you're going after commoditized coffee, which is what they're doing. The only market that you can maybe enter in, right, is straight up going to be specialty coffee, right? And these are guys who are building really high quality, freshly roasted coffee beans that are amazing, right? Like that are great. And you could do that in small batches, right? And in this kind of design and in that world, specialty coffee can exceed and succeed in some ways. But the fact that he's saying that the when utility is already going to have like franchise shares attached to it, All I can say is, bruh, sell your top tier ones as fast as you can, right? On a good bid. Because that shit, the likelihood of any franchise getting to that level with zero experience is nothing. Guys, I could have got you an El Salvador coffee deal. I could go get you a Nicaragua coffee deal. I could get you go a Honduras coffee deal. I could get you a Guatemala coffee deal, all in my sleep. Like whatever you want. And I know this also because I lived in El Salvador for 2 years. I also ran a coffee brand for over 2 years, and I exited it. Right, so like I actually know this shit better than most people. Like I'm not talking out of this for like shits and giggles. It does not work. They do not understand anything about their business, and I can tell you this because of how they communicate it, right? They don't really understand anything about where coffee is gonna go. And this is kind of the interesting thing. Bro, like I'm Indian by culture. I'm not like Indian by parents, bro. I'm like white in culture. Bro, like I'll watch a few Bollywood movies, but like y'all don't realize like I'm like American through and through. I'm weirdly cultured though, thank God. But yeah, my Indian is the least Indian of them all, to be very honest. Uh, um, can I get us a PH subscription for us? What is a PH subscription? That could be anything. I don't know what that one represents. Uh oh, that's what you like. I mean, hilariously, I probably could. I mean, do you guys realize like how easy it is to get these low cost partnerships, right? Like, damn, I'm just walking into everyone. Next, you're gonna say a DN subscription. I'm gonna walk right into that. God damn. Oh man. Oh god damn. That's great. Uh, okay. But long story short, I applaud Pawns because he thinks he's doing something right. But from what I understand, there's no way that Pawns has ever worked in the coffee industry. If he has, it doesn't sound like it with any of his communication. The other thing he doesn't realize is most of the problems he's noted have already been solved, right? Like they've literally already been solved at the moment right now, right? Like I went and showed you guys on the last call, I actually showed you all these other coffee websites that do direct breakdowns. They're certified B Corps. They actually give the money right back to a meaningful fair share of profits back to the farms. Right? He's just commoditizing it. He doesn't even tell you what type of bean it was. He didn't even tell you what is the amount they're paying for those beans. They don't even show the markups or the cost breakdowns of those beans. Bruh, Bro, that's not gonna be any good. That's not gonna work long time. And this is where you're gonna see this huge struggle, right? Is that if you don't understand this market, you're just gonna get eaten up left and right. It's not gonna work out. It really won't. And that's why, like, again, he's unfortunately, and I don't think he's doing it intentionally. I just don't think he understands the space. He's selling fake ownership, right? Because you guys realize how hard it is to make a franchise concept with no branding. Like, I'm sorry, his making coffee branding is not great. It's not. Go look at his quality of his art. Bro, first of all, the name Making Coffee is awful. It's 100% awful name, right? And the branding is just 5 lines. Like, honestly, it looks like a worse version of Dutch Bros, which is also one of the worst brands out there to a certain extent. Like nothing of the brand looks mature, right? It really doesn't, right? And that's what a lot of people don't understand, right? And like it doesn't, yeah, it nothing makes sense, right? And this is what a lot of people don't really understand on this design, right? And and this is where it sucks because I don't think, right? I don't think he's in like intentionally trying to do anything bad. He's actually working hard. He did form a partnership. He did work with the ministry, the vice minister of agriculture in El Salvador. But here's like a couple things. Everyone in El Salvador hates crypto because the president has been honestly insane when it comes to his investments. He literally bought the top of Bitcoin and ate a huge loss on that front, right? And then more importantly, they then tried to put this crap wallet to everyone. It was all, I think it's called the Chavo or Chivo wallet. I forget what it is called, and it was awful. It was awful. So everyone in El Salvador hates crypto, right? And it sucks because it could be a really powerful thing, right? But the way it's been introduced by the government has been just awful, right? And he's like a dumb degen, right? That's the worst part of El Salvador's leader. The guy has no clue what he's doing. He's literally one of the most incompetent leaders out there, unfortunately, too. Right? He was trying to get apes to score. I hope he was. And he probably didn't even flip it and mint it. He probably just he probably back held it to zero. That's probably what happened. Oh God, he's still oh shit. That's great. I hope they put a hape on one of the coffee bags as well. Oh God. Dutch Bros, don't worry. And joke. Dutch Bros is like the next like fast coffee like Starbucks here in the US, especially here on the West Coast. In California, it's getting pretty big. It's garbage coffee, don't worry. You're not missing out on anything. There's amazing coffee in the US now. Like guys, we are so spoiled now. Like, dude, there is like Blue Bottle sources amazing beans, right? And then depending where you are, there's Temple, there's Sextant, there's Sight Glass, there's God, there's so many good beans now. Like it is pretty nuts out there. So what you'll realize is that the market is getting much better. But bro, building a coffee business and then dealing with international shipping, oh my God. This guy is gonna bring on one of the worst operational nightmares he will ever have to deal with. Like literally, I'm telling you, it's not gonna work in the way they think it's gonna work. It's not. And the other problem that they're gonna run into, right, just to be very blunt, is that all the ownership value only happens when they create a $50 million coffee brand. Right? That's the only time to be large enough to then start being able to do. Do you guys know how expensive it is to get like a robotic coffee maker and then they're gonna put it as a kiosk in places? You guys know what's sad is I actually know so much about this as well. And sadly, Bruno, I have tried Kopi Luwak, which is also hilarious and a whole other side story as well. Crazy type of beat. Bruno could share the story about that as well. It was not. It was fine coffee. Was it tier one coffee in my opinion? No, but it wasn't bad. It was good coffee overall, but not tier one in my opinion. It was more, yeah. It's literally coffee that's consumed by animals. The animals eat the raw beans, and then you have to go get the beans from the animal's shit and then clean it and then drink it. It is one of the weirdest things in the world. That is probably the weirdest concept you will ever hear for a coffee bean. But many people claim it's like the coolest, like the best coffee in the world. It is not. It isn't bad. It's just fucking coffee, bro. But it is straight up like, yeah, point cocaine just sounds better. I mean, I think for most people, cocaine would just be better in general as well. It's pretty weird. It is definitely a meme. It is totally a meme. And someone has just tricked you into doing it here as well. Um, what are the best beans to buy? Honestly, the best beans to buy in person is to buy directly from a roaster. Like buy fresh beans. Like beans are best consumed within 2 weeks of roast, right? So you want to check the roast date. And if you're at least, if you want to be like a purist, you really want to be able to consume beans within 2 weeks of their roast date. So the best time always usually is going to your local coffee bean roaster and getting beans from them. In regard to like type of beans, it's about your flavor profiles, right? So each region has different notes. So this is really only for people who drink coffee black. If you don't really drink coffee black, it doesn't kind of matter what coffee you drink as long as it's like a decent bean. Because in the end, you're adding milk and sugar and other flavor profiles that are going to dilute it anyway. Like, why spend a shit ton of money on it, right? It's kind of like not worth it, right? But if you are looking for like a great black coffee bean, it just comes down to the type of notes you want. Do you want more fruitful, right, notes? Do you want more bolder notes, subtle notes? Do you prefer earthy tones? I mean, it gets very much like wine. It's crazy, and I'm not even a wine expert, but I'm sadly a coffee expert as well. So what is interesting for me, my favorite beans come from three regions in the world. I am a Panama, Ethiopia, and Yemen are my top three regions in the world. Why do I like Ethiopia? It's primarily because I like their fruit-based notes, primarily blueberry notes. Yeah, these are all for coffee, right? Yemen has more of a cherry note. Yemen is actually my favorite coffee of all time. Trying to get beans from Yemen are amazing. It's just hard and very expensive as well. And then yeah, I mean Ethiopia has a lot. Mine is usually like Ethiopian Golochar, but I gotta go find one that has those notes because that's the other thing is like beans go in and out, right? Of yields and seasons and times. And then Panama has this Panama Geisha, which is just amazing. Let me see if I could find like here's some of my favorite like if you're just trying to get into coffee and you want to experiment with like good coffee, and this is like your first time um trying specialty coffee, I would just go with like one of these guys who built like just amazing brands. One of my favorites is like Onyx Coffee Lab. Hold on one sec. Let me spell it right. www. Hold on. www dot Onyx. I have to type it in because I'm not on my laptop. Thank you, T, please. So that's one of my favorites, Onyx Coffee Lab. That is the correct link. I think that just like their packaging is beautiful. I think when you go and search, and they also do tea, which is pretty cool. But they also teach you exactly what you want to learn about it. Let me see if they have any of my favorites here, but they will also tell you the notes of the coffee as well. Let me see if they have any Ethiopias. They have some blends, but I usually go with what it's called single origin. So what most people don't realize, most coffee is usually a blend of multiple beans, right? Like multiple beans out there. But you usually want to try single origins. Yeah, like Senator Chef is posting right now. So he's got a Nicaraguan here, right? Which is just a specialty coffee bean. It's telling you the region, the altitude, the bean variety, and the level of roast, right? Like how dark the roast will be. And they usually have different taste profiles. So his is honey, apple, caramel, vanilla, according to the person who most likely the roaster who's writing this stuff out. The truth is, like notes are sometimes really hard to pull. So you usually want to have like stuff that's really bold in it as well. So I'm trying to find an Ethiopia Galochar. The closest I could find is this. They have an Ethiopia Guji Jujesa Natural at Onyx. And that's got a plum, so that's probably plum, vanilla, baked apple. That would be probably like a good one to try. Similarly is the honey is the roast method. Oh, good to know, Senator Chef. Sorry, I didn't read that. The notes are apple, caramel, and vanilla. Great. Um, I'm trying to see what else. Let me see if any of my wow, they have a lot of Costa Rican. Oh, they have an Ethiopia Gordaco. What is this? Yeah, so this one is the yellow pear, Manuka, Concord, grape, raw sugar. That actually sounds amazing, to be very honest. Um, and then it also tells you like the website for Onyx is a great way. I know here's the honest truth is like I would just go to one of these places and buy one or two small bags of these, right? You could even buy 4-ounce bags that cost like $10. And again, if you're gonna do it right, you need to have a grinder. You need to make sure you have your right setup. There's some good stuff out there. Um, for those roasted, do you use some alternative ways like Chemex, AeroPress, or Dripper? So for me, I'm just really standard. There are people who are more coffee snobs than me, and to be honest, that's totally fine. But yeah, I'm a standard pour over guy. So I'm usually utilizing, excuse me, um, I'm usually utilizing something like a Chemex coffee maker, right? And then I do like it's called a origami um dripper. Let me see if I could find this. Yeah, I usually use an origami dripper at the top of my setup, and then similarly, you want to and then usually you want to like choose the type of grind that you want, like depending on how fine or coarse, depending on the machine you have, you usually find a setting. I'm usually in like the medium grade of like the coarseness of what I'm grinding this down to as well. But yeah, that's usually like I just keep it really simple. I use a standard pour over method. I measure everything out. I'm using a water ratio as well against it as well. So there's some really cool stuff. My big stuff that I'm using is what is the name of this company? Yeah, Fellow Products, FELLOW products.com. If you go there, I use their electric kettle, their Stag, Stagg electric kettle. Um, God damn, I wish I was on my laptop. I would be able to send you guys these links so much easier. Hold on. I could just go grab these here. Stag kettle. So this is like my setup. It's a little bougie, but honestly, if you drink coffee every day, you need a kettle. This one's a little bit pricier than most, but you only live once, and this shit's some beautiful stuff. Hold on, let me get it to you guys. Give me a second. Okay, here we go. Here is the electric pour over kettle. I love that one. Um, I have that one in the copper. The copper's so sexy. Oh god, that thing awesome to use. And then I also use the fellow grinder now. I used to have like a basic grinder, but the fellow grinder is ridiculous. It's called the Ode. Again, it's on sale. I don't think it's like the best grinder in the world, to be very honest. It 100% gets the job done, but oh, it's so beautiful. I love what their stuff looks like. That thing looks like a little masterpiece. My previous like coffee grinder, which is what most people use, I think it's called a. Hold on, let me find the exact name. Um, it's like the Bruesta. No, what is it called? Hold on. I'm gonna get you. Oh yeah, here it is. It's the Baratza. The Baratza Encore is what most people use, and like honestly, a good Baratza Encore runs like $150. If you get it new, and now this fellow Ode one is down to 200, so it's only $50 more right now if you were to buy it. I think it's way better, and like the Baratza Encore doesn't look ugly. Um, well, it doesn't look pretty. It looks too functional to me, which is kind of bothersome. Like it's just pure function, no art to it. So, oh man, because I'm in France, they're like, "No, you can't see that photo." I'm like, you bastards. Let me see it. Here we go. Here's Brazos. So this is like what most people consider would be like a tier one coffee bean here as well. Here as well. Just sending in referral. Like I don't think any of those had referrals, did they? That'd be pretty hilarious if I did. I should honestly start making you some money on this front by making some money for Tribe. Like, we'll just send all these links with. I should just send you Amazon links and get all the referrals off your Amazon purchases. That'd be pretty hilarious. But no, I do love all these. Well, I do love this. The fellow products. Oh man, even the fellow grinder is great. Okay, let me see if I can find you the Ethiopia Golochar. I don't know. That was my favorite when I used to Golochar. Let me see if I can find it. Golochar. No, it looks like I cannot find that reach it. Uh, coffee. Doesn't look like anyone's doing it except looks like it's the Guji and the Yeah, it doesn't look like I could find that blueberry one exactly. I'll have to search a little bit more to find that as well. But there are a lot of good options out there, guys. So I hope that you take a look and hopefully find a great coffee here as well. Yeah, the ode dropping $100 is nice. Again, it's not better than the Baratza. It's like similar quality. It's just prettier. That's it. So like I have like a really pretty setup, and then like I said, I use these origami. I mean, dude, like coffee guys are super hipsters. So like we all started using these origami drippers when the when a girl won the there's actually like coffee championships. Like there's like legit coffee championships. They have to choose the exact bean, their own method of brewing it, etc. And they choose winners and stuff. And this girl won it using these origami drippers. Here's the link for them. They're beautiful. Like they look again. I actually have I have actually one in every color because I'm such a douchebag. Not one in every color because I realize they have more, but I have like one of every. I think I have six of them. I love the orange. I love the marine. I love the rose. Oh, the rose is so beautiful. There's so many cool things. And then I'm usually using like a Hario carafe, right? Is what my base is that I put this on. So some people could just use the Chemex, right? I just use like a Hario carafe, like this. Hold on. I love how we're just like talking about my own fucking coffee setup. I don't know why you guys are listening to me for this, but since you're all cool about it for now, I'll do it. I don't know why I'm sending you Cafe Belleville. Uh, I guess this is what France's Google search gives me this year as well. Um, so what's cool here is that talk about my weed setup next week. Here, I'll tell you my weed setup, bro. I don't have any. Well, I do have. When I do smoke flower, it's very simple. I use dope shit. I only use the volcano vaporizer. If you've never used the volcano vaporizer here, like, oh, that thing's amazing. But honestly, the rest of my setup is called edibles, bro. Just edibles. And I think this is going to be pretty cool as an opportunity here, on where things are going. But yeah, if you're smoking flower, volcano or bust, even Volcano has a good portable vape too, which is way better than any other vape out there, in my opinion. But yeah, like realistically, if I do anything, it's just edibles now. Edibles are my go-to because I don't want to smell like a drug addict here, right? On this front. So yeah, that is my cannabis setup. But don't do drugs, kids. It is legal in my state and country. It's drugs in certain places. There's drugs in the country I'm in right now. Yeah, if you're Dutch, you're good. You don't have to worry about it. But uh, don't get me wrong. Don't do drugs. No, weed is not a drug, people. It's true, it's not a drug, but it is a drug in certain countries. That's the problem. It's so weird, man, because living in California, right? Because like I live in San Francisco and or I lived in San Francisco. And let me be very honest, you guys realize like the dispensaries to buy weed in 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 San Francisco are like beautiful shops. They're like most of them are. They're like beautiful couches. There's this beautiful setup. You get one-on-one sales. It's like luxury goods, right? Which is nuts, right? You could go out there and get anything you want. And bro, like they charge luxury shit too. Like it's nuts, right? Like, but it's a really fun experience, and it's so weird because that's what my life was for like dude like you could get and also in California when it was just medicinal only at the start, it was so easy to get a medicinal license. I was explaining this actually in Monaco. I was explaining this to a few friends. They're like, hey, I heard it's like super easy to get weed in California. I'm like, oh yeah, now it's super easy. It's legal for anyone. They're like, oh, but even in the past it was. I was like, yeah. And they're like, how easy was it? The crazy thing was is that you to get a medicinal card, all you had to do was that it was crazy. You would have to just do a 30-minute appointment with a doctor, right? And this doctor would just ask you a couple of questions like, "Hey, would you benefit if something could reduce your stress or help you sleep better at night?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't sleep that well, and yeah, I'm stressed, and yeah, I guess I'm anxious sometimes," right? Like really, really basic stuff here as well, and they immediately would do it. And here's the crazy part of how easy it was. This was pre-COVID, and I didn't even have to go to the doctor's office. I was able to do this over Zoom. I was able to do this over video. It took less than 15 minutes, and then he shipped everything to me, right? So he shipped me a printable card immediately so that I could just straight up print it out and go. And then separately, right, they then shipped me the physical card like 3 days later or 5 days later, right? And yeah, I had to pay for the card too. It was like $100 or something. And then I had to pay $150 for this doctor's appointment. And I don't even know what the limit is. They let me buy whatever I want, bro. Like I go in, dude, I'm that weird guy where if I find my perfect edible, I buy out the store of it. Because the worst thing that happens in cannabis right now is that you get your favorite thing and then that business shuts down or they stop doing that strain. It's the worst feeling in the world. So in my home, if you ever go back to my home in California, there's about 150 chocolate bars, cannabis chocolate bars, right, in my home. There's no reason a human should have 150 cannabis chocolate bars where each one is like 100 to 200 kilograms, right? Which is crazy. Oh, sorry, not milligrams, not kilograms. Milligrams, right? Which is crazy. Um, but I do that because I don't want to lose my shit, which is totally, totally, totally amazing. Which is great. No, dude, man, I did this because my favorite did go out of business. I found this amazing gummy company, and then they like stopped doing my gummies. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how dare you? And do this, but I don't want to spend time try to find this shit exactly, right? Like when you miss a good flower, oh, it's brutal. It's so hard to find a good flower again, bro. That's why I hate flowers now. Because as soon as I go back, they're gone within 2 weeks. Like, no, we're sold out. I'm like, why are you sold out? Grow more shit. Like, understand how to measure demand. God damn it, what's wrong with y'all? But it's hard, right? Because again, these strains, degrade over time. That's what a lot of people don't understand. What are you showing me, Timely Fashion? Are these frozen Skittles with THC? What are you showing me? These are gummies? Inside the gummies? Why is it so colorful inside the gummies? Oh, they're nerd bites. Weird. I've never seen anything like that. Oh shit, that's too much. My go-to is like I think I'm like a 15 milligram guy to 18 milligram guy. That's what I need. All medical gummies have to be stamped with THC on them. What in Florida? That's not true out here in Cali. We don't get any of that shit. Oh, I am definitely dude, a lightweight, bro. Like, dude, 10 to 15 milligrams is huge. I don't know how you guys are eating like 20, 30 milligrams. Y'all are crazy, bro. I'm not looking to go to space. I'm looking to be a functional human being here as well. Bro, you can do 100 milligrams, Bruno? What the fuck are you doing, bro? Where are you blasting off to? Holy shit. This is actually a way more interesting conversation because I don't understand what the fuck you're doing. On 100 milligrams, you must think you're like Elon Musk, like riding a spaceship by yourself. Like, what the fuck are you doing on 100 milligrams? Someone asked, do I dab? Bro, I cannot dab anymore. Look at Bruno, I understand that. Like, flour doesn't cut it for me. That's actually why I went to edibles more. Like, flour like I mean, flour only does it for me after I stop smoking flour for like 2 or 3 months, and then I have to come back to it. But 100 milligrams, bro, you guys are crazy. Damming, oh, dude, I'm not about that life, bro. Like I do not understand. Y'all are crazy. I don't dab, and what in tincture, right, is what it is, right? When they like it's super concentrated, dude. Yeah, you can call me that for sure, bro. I am definitely not looking to lift off like y'all are trying to do. Y'all are crazy, bro. 100 milligrams, yeah. I don't know why these guys can't afford a soul. Exactly. They're just fucking dabbing this shit to fucking go to. Oh my god, dude. It was funny because someone tried to like, dude. I actually hate smoking now. Like, I don't understand. Like, I cannot do it without a vape. I cannot hit a blunt anymore. Like, straight up, I cannot hit blunts anymore. Like, I'm not about that life, bro. Like, I will straight up like, joints only, bro. That's crazy. Well, you would take a joint over like a volcano vape, Prudo? Like, yo, I'm so Wow, wow, that's crazy, dude. I am like, y'all are crazy, bro. I don't like vaping, but like volcano is the smoothest shit I've ever hit, bro. And getting a bag, like you have these huge ass bags, right? That you could just smoke, and it's so pure. You rarely will ever cough. Oh, okay, fair enough. That is true. I I like how at this point there's 250 of y'all still listening to me about fucking weed, which is pretty hilarious here as well. But yeah, no, I cannot do like I could smoke a joint for sure. I just have no reason to. I hate the smell of weed on me, right? I don't like, dude, like all my European friends, bro, I'm gonna tell you guys this for real. All my European and Middle Eastern friends, why do you guys smoke cigarettes so much? Like, why? Why? Bro, I hate the smell of smoke of cigarettes all on my clothes. I hate the smell of marijuana all on my clothes, bro. Ruins it. Ruins it. I don't get it. Y'all are crazy. Volcano or bust, or give me some good edibles. That's the only way I'm doing it here as well. Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. Like it's all good. I don't mind anyone. Like you choose your vices, bro. But like, oh, the smell of smoke's one of the worst things ever, bro. I'm one of those weird dudes. You know what's crazy? Like, I'll talk to you guys about joints and all this shit. I have never smoked a cigarette or cigar in my life. Like, never. Like, never tried that shit. It brings me no interest or joy. I've definitely hit a lot of joints. Don't get me wrong. Um, yeah, edibles exactly, Steven. But that's why I need to get the right element of an edible. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, that's why I only use one brand, so I know when it kicks in consistently. It still has a range though. Don't get me wrong. Like my edible chocolates take between like 20 minute, well, like between 30 minutes to about 1 hour max. But I always know my dosage, right? The thing that sucks is taking different edibles for the first time. Oh shit, yeah. I remember the first mistake I made. I got those shitty Kiva blueberry chocolates, right? And I was like, oh, I'll take two of these. Only take two per dose. I'm like, okay. Took two, waited an hour, nothing happened. So I'm like, oh man, this shit's kind of weak. Maybe I'm not feeling it. Drop another two, bruh, awful. Uh, they all decided to hit all at the same time. Fucking felt like I was going in outer space. Like literally. The cool thing about weed is you're never really worried as long as like you can keep that rational mind. Like you'll always come down from this. You're good. But like, bro, I was not ready to shoot into space. T please, have you ever done one of these sessions high? Honestly, half my sessions are probably high, to be very honest. Not half, like a quarter of my sessions are high. Like to be very honest, like people don't realize that. I'm actually very functional high. I'm weird at times, but like straight up, like I literally take weed for work. You know how fucked up that's how weird I am, guys. You don't realize, like straight up, when I take like weed, I'm literally when I'm taking my edibles, it's straight up to do some crazy hard intensive work, right? And don't get me wrong, that's how we got 4 a.m. Monaco relic. Nah, man, dude. I did not have weed then. Y'all are crazy. Like you guys don't realize that was just me, super happy and active. Try microdosing what though, Steven? Microdosing weed? Oh yeah, yeah. That I the problem is getting a good source for that stuff is hard. That's my problem. If it was more legal and easy, well, Steven, then I will be your friend when we come out here as well on this aside. What does it show that I'm playing Diablo 4? Bro, I don't even own Diablo 4. I don't even know why it's sharing that. I don't know who's playing Diablo 4. I don't even own Diablo. I don't even own an Xbox, bro. Like, how am I gonna play? How am I gonna play Diablo 4, bro? Bro, you guys don't realize, dude. I wish I could play games. Do you guys realize that, like, I don't ever have time for playing video games anymore, except FIFA. Literally, FIFA's the only thing. And also, wait, hold on. Can I share one thing, guys, really quickly that's so important to my heart right now that I want you all to hear? Like, I want you to know, all of you guys need to go watch Lionel Messi. Just watch him tear up MLS. Like, it sucks because I don't get to watch any of the games. They all happen at like 5 or 6 a.m. Yeah, Bruno, you're lucky, although I'm sure you can't even afford tickets. The tickets are so insane for Messi right now. But you know what's so amazing about it? I will be there soon. I will definitely be in Miami for Art Basel as well later this year, Bruno. We'll kick it, bro. We'll go to a game. We'll go to a baseball game. No, well, a soccer game or a UFC fight. Like 100%. I'll be out there here as well. Dude, I was trying to stay up to watch. It wasn't even that. You know what's hilarious? Like, is I stayed up that long and it wasn't even I forgot that Messi was playing that night. I don't even know if he was playing that day. I think it was the next day. But you know what was sad is I ended up watching the. I couldn't even go to sleep because I was just working on this idea, and I just watched that shitty Nick Diaz Logan Paul fight. Ugh, what a fucking waste of my time. I'm just like really, really crazy. But no, you guys gotta watch Messi. Dude, Messi is still top 5 player in the world, and it's not even close. Don't get me wrong, his averaging 2 goals every 90 minutes is insane because it's partially MLS 100%. But you cannot take away from those free kicks. Those free kicks are amazing. Just, dude, the one he did last night, oh my God. It was inch perfect. Inch perfect, right? And like no one really understands just how good this guy is. Right? And it's just so fun. But you know what's the best part about it? Watch him because he's so happy. Watch Messi just happy. Bro, like I am so glad he made that choice because you want to know why? Go look at Ronaldo. That dude is not happy. Like, even though Ronaldo is technically getting paid more per year, bro, that dude does not look happy in Saudi Arabia. I'll be very honest. It's not because I think Saudi League will get a lot better. He just got Sadio Mane and a few other people as well. But like he's doesn't really feel like he's loving it there, right? And that's kind of the crazy thing. So I'm really curious as well. Yeah, exactly. I think Messi just has his voice. He's playing the role. He's all MLS is the perfect league because MLS are so easy to get out of position that they're all susceptible to counters, right? And like Messi just looks like a god out there, and it's so fun. So I just wanted to share that because it brings me so much joy to see Messi happy. It was so painful to see him at PSG, and it sucks that it ended the way it did. And it's even more painful to think about this dude like didn't get to finish his career in Barcelona. Do you realize the greatest of all time got forced off his own team? Like, you guys realize that? Like, that's insane, right? It's almost like if Kobe wore a different jersey, Kobe would not be Kobe, right? It bothers me here as well. And that's kind of why I love that Messi still found a redemption arc. He got the World Cup redemption arc, which he absolutely deserved, and goddamn, you'll never see anyone happier than Messi. But now he's getting this like end of career mark, and dude, he's gonna make a huge bag. And it's not just on money, he's gonna own equity in the team, right? He's gonna have this huge ability to buy into the team at a huge discount. He's probably going to increase the value of MLS by 2x himself, if not 4x. Crazy. Crazy. Yeah, Inter Miami was the worst team. Was the worst team in MLS. 7 match loss streak. Now they've won 4 straight games. Right? Instantly. And again, dude, they got a lot of talent. They got Sergio Busquets and Jordi Alba. Alba Messi assist yesterday was gorgeous. Really amazing to see that first goal as well. They say Suarez, but he ain't coming, bro. Suarez is donezo, bro. Suarez is stuck in Gremio until end of year. And then maybe Suarez plays like half a season with them. But it would be fun to see just for old time's sake. I want to see like somehow they trick Neymar into coming. That would be amazing. But honestly, dude, MLS, dude, I don't know why Inter would want Suarez. Dude, all Inter Miami should be getting is defenders and midfielders. That's it. Right? That's it. Or go get a goalkeeper who's just amazing in the world, right? That's all they need. They have more than enough offense with just Messi there. Because Messi's an engine, right? Messi just knows, like, Messi makes all the other guys. Like, Robert Taylor looks like a guy who could actually play now when he got ran out of the Dutch leagues, right? Like, the dude is crazy. Oh, I know, dude. Oh, the Suarez, Messi, Neymar trio was too short lived. But without a doubt the greatest trio. I agree. The greatest front three of all time was so great. And dude, that's the crazy thing about Messi is the GOAT and it's not even close. It's not even close. Messi is the GOAT and he is the GOAT player, the GOAT team. It was so great. So I just hope Messi has a great end to his career. I was still hurt that he chose Inter Miami because I know Messi could easily be a top five player on a top five league team in the world, right? And I really was saddened that he didn't want to go for it. But all I can say is he's so happy. Dude, you want to hear the saddest story? You guys want to hear like the real saddest story? Was like it just came out yesterday. Um, and it was during the Copa America, right, when they were playing, and Messi finally won that. Like Messi had such a good year that year when he won both Copa and World Cup. But at Copa, Sergio Aguero, was noting that every day at Copa America, Messi had a Barcelona jersey, right, and waiting, and he was like, "Hey guys, just I need you guys to be ready to take a photo when they announce that I'm coming back to Barca, right?" And he was just waiting for that contract. And Kuhn's just like, every day we were ready to take the photo, and it didn't come. It didn't come. It didn't come. And it was just like this whole concept that poor Messi was so set to go back and play everything. And like it just never happened. And all of his teammates saw that happen in front, and that's just brutal, right? And I think that's where it's so crazy. And in the end, he just really never got to that level of that design, which I think is really interesting. And he just never got to that happiness. And it was so sad to hear that because if there's a dude who deserved, like, talk about loyalty. Messi has been the perfect teammate everywhere he goes. Bro, he does not care about being the leading goal scorer. Bro, he like remember, you want to know the most selfless thing ever? Still remember that free you guys remember that penalty kick he took where he fucking tapped it for Suarez to finish it? Like that is like Messi to a T, right? Which is just crazy, right? Messi was out of doubt as a GOAT. I don't think it's fair to compare players across different sports. That's not how I think about it at all. I think Messi is the GOAT. I honestly think Michael Jordan is the culture GOAT, but I honestly will tell you LeBron James will have the most insane case for a GOAT status as well when his career is done. Like LeBron is still a top 7 player in this league, bro. Like that is the crazy thing here at the moment right now. Who is my NBA GOAT? I mean, I still give it to Jordan culturally, right? But like, dude, LeBron's numbers are gonna be so astronomical. Do you guys realize LeBron broke the scoring record last year? Like he broke it and he still got like 3 more years to go, right? Like it's nuts. That was a record that most people thought was unbreakable. Do you realize LeBron has led the league in assists and points? Do you guys realize that LeBron has taken his team at one point to 9 straight finals with honestly garbage squads and lots of those times out of the Eastern Conference? Bro, it's nuts. It is nuts on that front. Yeah, Billy Corbett, I actually agree with your list here. If these were the goats for all the sports, um, actually, almost to a T, I agree with all of these. My question is, you're missing who is the male tennis goat player? That's actually now a really interesting conversation now here as well. I don't know, it's very interesting, man. Like Djokovic, Nadal, Federer all have incredible cases for it now. Djokovic has the most individual titles now. He broke that lead. Federer was my favorite. I'm not saying he was the all out goat. Honestly, I'm not the person who could even make this argument. To be very honest, I don't follow tennis enough to say it, but it is the one where I see statistically, it is definitely totally different. Oh, exactly. Like, dude, what are you showing here? Oh, these are active players, right? In regard to the year, the birth date they are. Yeah. He's the oldest player in the league. He's played the most seasons, the most minutes. He's the only guy left from the 2003 draft class. There's only one guy left in the 2004 draft class. There's only one guy left in the 2005 draft class. And there's only three people left in the 2006 draft class. And there's only five people left in the 2007 draft class. You guys realize how insane this dude is? Like it is actually pretty insane. Dude, yeah, Alcaraz looked amazing. I watched the last final against Djokovic. Alcaraz, man, give him some credit. That dude is come out of nowhere and just been doing it. I think Jordan for the culture and the storytelling, like Jordan's story arc is near perfect, right? And he was just he captured a huge like attention. Like I think Kobe's story arc, I mean, outside of his one insane issue in the middle of his career, is also a pretty crazy storytelling arc, and that's why I think a lot of people and like I'm the biggest Kobe fan, but like straight up, like Kobe is not the goat by any means, like by any stretch. Like Kobe was my favorite player when I idolized it, but again, I would never put Kobe. Kobe's not even in my top five, which is he's in my top 10, but he's not in my top five. No, Luka Doncic is not the next NBA legend yet. I love Luka though. I want to say there's only one. There's only two people who could say that they're NBA legends, next NBA legends, and that's Giannis and Jokic. That's not even close. There's no one else that could put the question of who could be next after them. It'd be somewhere between Jason Tatum and Luka, right? Would probably be the debate on that front. And I think Luca could be better for sure, but I think the problem with Luca is honestly Luca still hasn't figured out how to win team basketball games. That's actually Luca's problem. He's actually, without a doubt, one of the most talented, gifted people ever. One of the most uncanny, like clutch players at times that I've ever seen. Man, y'all are hating on Tatum, bro. Tatum's amazing. Like, sure, he might not be in the playoffs as you'd want, but like everyone chokes in the playoffs, bro. Look at the stats in the clutch of like your top 20 players of all time. Everyone sucks in the clutch, right? I mean, to be very honest, dude, y'all hating on Tatum, dude. Tatum would be very high on my like redraft list here as well. If there's any true future GOAT, and I know it's still way too early to say it, bro, it's Victor Wembanyama. Bro, if this guy can keep his legs underneath him, oh, oh my God. Right? Like it could be insane. Like I really do think he's gonna be crazy. Bro, I don't know when Kawhi's gonna do anything. I feel so bad. I mean, I don't feel bad for Balmer. That dude's so fucking rich, right? But it is sad that the poor Kawhi, Paul George, just really that was the thing, and it just really hasn't resulted in anything. Has been so brutal. Yeah, man, I did see the last fight, Cyber Shoe. I really love the Justin Gaethje fight. That was pretty awesome. Great to see Gaethje get some revenge there. I love both those fighters. Those are my favorite. Oscar Pistorius, PFP, pound for pound, P for P. Most deadly sprinter. I definitely agree. Okay, if there's any one goat that anyone should be focusing on, there's only one true goat that matters right now, and it's not even close. It is Shohei Ohtani. You guys all need to be watching what this dude is doing. Shohei Ohtani is literally the only GOAT player. It is American baseball. That's why most of you guys do not know about this guy. But Shohei Ohtani is the only dude who plays both sides of the plays two of the respective positions that matter. He is a batter and a pitcher. It is insane. And he's not even the Babe Ruth of our time. Babe Ruth was the Shohei Ohtani of his time. Shohei Ohtani is already better than Babe Ruth as a multi-dual batter and pitcher. And it's not even close, right? The crazy thing is this guy's not only like a home run hitter, he is technically on pace for over 50 home runs. And here's the insane thing about this. He also leads the league in triples. You guys realize this guy has speed. He is from home to first base. He is like I think top 10 fastest players in the league. It does help that he's a lefty, so he gets out of the box early. Exactly. NFT Bounty Hunter is exactly right. The guy throws a no hitter in the first game of a doubleheader, right? 9 innings, no hit, and the next game hits 2 home runs. Insane. It's not even close. Shohei Ohtani, right? Shohei Ohtani is on a whole nother level. And Shohei Ohtani, from an expected value perspective, is the most valuable sports player of all time. This guy is also going to be a free agent at the end of this year. This dude is probably going to sign. It's not going to beat the Saudi numbers that we're getting out of, Ronaldo and them. But this guy is probably going to sign, well, without a doubt, is going to sign the largest annual MLB contract of all time, right? He will probably be making somewhere between 50 to 60 million dollars a year easily, and some people say it could go up to 60 to 75 million a year. It is insane what this guy is about to get. And this dude is at a whole nother level, right? That is the only GOAT that matters. And he's a GOAT in his prime, and that's the crazy thing here as well, right? And here's the crazy thing is that the contract he's going to get is fully guaranteed. It's way better than NFL numbers. NFL numbers aren't real. Half that shit is fake because half that shit isn't even guaranteed, right? And they get cut half the time before they fulfill that contract, right? You guys realize Michael Vick was the first player to make sign two $100 million contracts in his career. The first ever player to do that, two nine-figure deals, and he made only 40 million on one and only like 38 million on the other, something like that. Because again, they weren't guaranteed contracts, right? It's a kind of another thing here as well. I think he is worth it, Vegas guy. He might not be worth it on the wins to dollar price point, which you're right. I mean, the only way he could do that is stay fully healthy on both sides and be top five player on both sides at this point. But he's worth it for the awareness to the market, the brand, and the team. But you're right. On an expected EV play, he's not. Right? He's only worth it to a team that has uncapped spending and is willing to just pile on, right? Which is Dodgers and Yankees at this point. Those are probably the only people here that will take advantage of it completely. Maybe you could argue Seattle, but not really at this point. Uh Bro, Crypto Gladiator, anyone who thinks goals is the number one way to measure best player doesn't understand the sport. Bro, you just lose all your credibility right there. That is like the most single one-dimensional way of measuring. Yeah, then definitely you don't win any points. Best cricket player of all time. I don't know how to answer it, but mine is Sachin as well. Sachin Tendulkar was like was the beast of all time. I don't know if he's actually the greatest of all time. A lot of people would say yeah, Shane Warne and a few others. But yeah, Sachin was my personal goat. I don't watch enough cricket. I sadly tried to watch the Ashes, England versus Australia, right? Yeah, bruh, it was too boring. Bro, cricket just honestly, if it's not the Indian, if it's not the World Cup, bro, it's not fun for me. I can't get into it. I was even watching the Women's World Cup, was way more interesting as well. Even though some of the plays are a little bit tough. It was a good series. That's great to hear, Crypto Cakes, that it was a good series. I honestly, it doesn't. I don't know. Cricket doesn't get me like that, man. I wish it was, but it's just too slow. And also the way, right? Because England got deducted a shit ton of points for their pace of play, right? Which is crazy. Yeah, this is definitely the range of tangents here is crazy high. I do need to leave though in a few minutes here. I do have calls and God, I have to prep for so much shit too. Uh, yeah, we went from cannabis to sports to ownership to shitting on all the other players here as well. Midget tossing. Is there a niche sport you'd like to try out, Saint? Honestly, the only niche sport that I might want to try out is not midget tossing. Honestly, the only one I would maybe want to try out is I just like the concept of like indoor football, like indoor American football, is interesting to me. I actually never played indoor American football in like a small field. I used to play, like I was a quarterback when I played. I've just always like thought that would be fun. I guess I got to try pickleball. That's like supposedly like really, really up there. I definitely don't want to try power slapping. I don't understand how that's a fucking sport. I mean, to be honest, if there was a sport I really want to go, like, if someone, like, if I could have a Matrix moment and be like, like, I know Kung Fu, right? Like, I would want to learn all the different disciplines of, like, martial arts. Specifically, I would like to learn Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, right? If there's anything. I tried to learn BJJ, but oh my God, fucking rolling in a gi is the worst thing in my life. Like, that is not for me. Bro, I don't want to get choked out in a gi. That doesn't sound like a fun way. That sounds like a bad sex act, right? Like I'm not down for that shit. But if I could, Brazilian jiu-jitsu would be amazing, right? Like I really would. Yeah, I should have done it without a gi. I don't know why. It was with a gi. It was really annoying, but that was what that local teacher wanted us to use, right? But like I would be totally down to learn it. I will probably try to learn it again. I actually just want to get back into boxing again, right? Like boxing is way more interesting on this front. Man, you guys got some crazy comments. It's pretty fucking funny to see this. This is actually what I love about live chat is when there's like a rolling stream of comments we could actually interact with. It's so much better than Twitter Spaces, to be honest. Like Twitter Spaces is cool if you want to put a few more people on stage and stuff, but like for this solo stuff, way more interesting. Yeah, all right. Well, I think I'm still in France. I'm back in Paris at the moment right now. I'm here for at least a week. So I was supposed to stay in Paris for like 6 more weeks, but my Airbnb was under construction and I just couldn't tolerate it. It was fucking awful. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna cancel it. So I literally only have I'm booking every week by week. So at least till the end of this week, I'm in Paris. I don't know where I'm going on Saturday. I might stay in Paris for another week. I might go to Italy. I might go to Belgium. I might go. Dude, I didn't realize Paris to UK is so fast to London, right? Like, which is really cool. Like, you could really go down to London. Like, you could go to London in like 3 hours or something, like 2 hours and 50 minutes. I'm like, huh? Because right, doesn't Premier League open up this next week, or when's the first English Premier League games? Hold on, it's pretty close, right? It's like next week, isn't it? Yeah, it is this week, bruh. Friday, August 11th. Oh yeah, dude. Okay, what's a good game? Oh, do I want to go see Man City blow out Burnley? Uh, what stadium is closest to downtown London? The what it would be Arsenal? Okay. That'd be a good game. Arsenal Nottingham. I mean, Arsenal should wreck them, but you know. Okay. All right, I might go see something here. Oh, Chelsea Liverpool's playing? That's a good. Oh, that's probably the best game. Are they playing? Where are they playing? In Liverpool or Chelsea? Ooh, they're playing at Stamford Bridge. Okay, okay. So how far is Chelsea from downtown London or Stamford Bridge from? Oh, it's only 20 minutes. Okay. Oh wait, it's fine. Oh, wait. Okay, I'm getting 20 minutes and 5 hours. Wait, where's the game at? Y'all are confusing me. It's in Chelsea. Okay, how far is Chelsea? Chelsea, London to Chelsea. Hold on, I'm doing it as I type. By train. Show it to me. Oh yeah, it's like 30 minutes. Y'all are y'all are playing with me. Okay, 30 minutes. Sorry, I did say Liverpool initially. Yeah, you're right. Okay, 30 minutes. I might do that. I might weirdly show up at Chelsea and and uh and kick it. The one problem I have though, I got to figure out where I can leave my bags. But no, I can just go check into a hotel and then leave it my bags there because the game's on Sunday. Uh, I don't know if I want to buy a shirt, bro. I don't. I got enough stoop. Do you guys realize? Oh my god, dude! I could probably clothe all of you with the amount of stupid amount of like Lionel Messi stuff I have. I think I have. I would want to say I have at least like 30 different Lionel Messi jerseys, which is kind of insane. Right? Barcelona and Argentina. Like just insane. All different variations. It's so dumb. And I don't even know why. So I cannot buy dude, I have like 30 different Kobe jerseys, right? Kobe 8, Kobe 24, Kobe number 10 on the Olympic team. Bro, I have I have Kobe Bryant high school jerseys, like Lower Marion high school jerseys. Like it's I and dude, I was a fanboy for sure back then. I don't want to buy any more of this shit. I don't buy any more sports gear, bro. I don't have enough time to represent this here as well. Um, yeah, I mean, don't be, but Arsenal's playing Nottingham Forest. Why do you think the Arsenal Nottingham Forest is more important? Like Chelsea versus Liverpool will be two great fan bases, right? Too, and don't get me wrong, Chelsea's on the comeback. It's pretty interesting after having a rough season. Liverpool also has the comeback. That's a pretty defining game for both of their seasons to start, right? Yeah, exactly. You got Pochettino versus Klopp. Like, I don't know, bro. I think that's a better game, right? In my opinion. Um, yeah, I definitely would lean toward Chelsea versus Liverpool, or I would lean to watching. Wait, how far is to Manchester? How long does it take me to get to Manchester? It's like 2 hours. I don't know if I love Man City. Wait, is Man City playing in Manchester? Where are they playing? Sorry. I'm like trying to plan my. I'm planning. Oh, they're playing on Friday. No, fuck that. I'm not playing. I'm not going to the Man City game. Fuck that. That's too early. Yeah, it's 2 hours. I mean, but they're playing on Friday. I'm here till Saturday, so I can maybe. I weirdly might go out to go see Chelsea versus Liverpool. That might be a crazy thing to consider. So yeah, I'll let you guys know. I'll go figure it out. See, thank you guys for giving me some ideas here as well. Which is good. Bro, wrong Manchester team. What you want me to go watch Man United versus the Wolves, bro? Bro, fuck that. Bro, if I'm gonna go watch a Manchester team, I'm definitely gonna go watch De Bruyne and Holland, please. Plus, I really come on, Pep's best coach in the might be haters, but Pep is literally top coach in the world. Like if there's a goat coach, it's like Pep as well too. But don't get me wrong, I love me some Man United. I'm curious to see how that roster shapes up. Like I like some of the additions here, but okay, you're right. Don't get me wrong. I'm not ruling out Nottingham Forest, but I'm saying though, like, don't get me wrong. Like Arsenal, Nottingham Forest, or Chelsea, Liverpool. I still think Chelsea, Liverpool is way more interesting. Don't get me wrong, dude. That's the one thing I love about English Premier League, right? Like all the teams are good. Also, dude, I heard about this new game. Okay, if you guys are UK people, this was like I didn't know this thing existed. I learned this over the weekend, and this will be my last thing before I hop off. There's this type of betting on English Premier League soccer games, and it's called pool. And the idea is that you're betting on games to pool, yeah, are betting for the games to end 0-0, right? Like literally, they're betting on the games to end 0-0. So it's like what you do is you're betting on all of this, right? All of the Premier League games at the same time, right? And it's kind of like this lotto, right? And you're trying to get numerous games to end in 0-0 in draws, right? And that's it, right? And that's crazy. And I didn't know that. And it's like a huge thing. And you know who bets on it the most? Not only the UK, it's huge in Nigeria. So like one of my friends, there his like well, not I want to say friends. One of the people I literally met this weekend and hung out with quite a bit. His dad runs like one of the largest betting groups on just this. He takes no other bets. It's literally betting on in that week. You bet, will there be a bunch of 0-0 games? And what's crazy is, and what's crazy is that if 6 games end in 0-0, it's like 100-1 payout or something like that. It's crazy like that. So like that's what people bet on. I was so blown away. They found a way to make draws interesting, 0-0 draws interesting, right? So if someone hits like if the collective league goes goes 6 games go goalless, right? Or a goal or both teams scores a goal or both teams score is a betting choice as well. Got it. It is so interesting. So I'm learning about all this weird shit. I didn't know such a type of prop bet game existed, and at the same time, it gets nuts. Um, what European do I support? I mean, I still support Barcelona, but like, I'm that weird dude now that I'm not that guy who's like, oh, I'm gonna Barca's playing where Madrid, die Madrid, die Madrid. Like, I'm not that type of guy. I'm that weird guy who's like, hi, I like Barcelona, but I hope both teams have a good time. I hope it's a fun, challenging game, and I hope the best team wins. That's the type of guy I am now. So I just like watching good games, and I'm telling you, as a sports fan, it's 100x better that way. Dude, I know, like, I'm not that ride or die for one team. I think that's so boring. I get to go watch any different game and I just enjoy it, right? Like, I'm gonna go to Liverpool and I'm gonna go, if I'm gonna go watch the Liverpool Chelsea game, I'm gonna have fun regardless of who wins. Right? I don't have any pain or nothing like that. And then I do have a few teams I support here and there that could be a little bit more exciting, could be great. Ooh, yeah, Inter versus AC Milan would be amazing. Yeah, I want to go to those rivalry games. Like I gotta go. I'm gonna go look at the Premier League. What's like whatever the best game is in the next couple of weeks. I'll go show up for that, bro. Like when did the Man City Man United play, or what are the other big games that we got to see? Match day 2. Let's see what's week 2. Yeah, Man United Tottenham, but I don't think that'll be that fun. Tottenham. Uh, okay, week 3 is not that interesting. Wait, what? Where's Man City? Oh, they're playing Sheffield. Okay, now week 4. This is getting way later. I don't think I go to these games. I got Arsenal, Man United, but yeah, dude, what they are they just giving Man City just the bottom half of the lineup? What's going on? Uh, okay, it's not happening for a while. Okay, never mind. There's a few decent games there. Liverpool versus Everton is the worst derby. I'll enjoy any of these. That's the good thing. I'll kind of go watch a few of these as well. I'll try to hit up. I mean, I definitely want to go hit up um Italian games for sure. I might go to a PSG game. Oh, this PSG opens up, but PSG. The problem is there's no one else good in Ligue 1 out here, right? Like, what is PSG's schedule? Who are they opening up against? I don't even think they're home. Saturday, August 12th, PSG versus Lorient. Where is this one at? Oh, it is at the Parc de Prince. Okay, Princess. Yeah. Okay. So this one's at home. Okay, cool. What's the best place to buy tickets? Does anyone know for like UK games? Like, where do you guys go buy tickets? I know online, but where online? From official websites, you guys just buy directly from the teams. Uh, I only see the US. We just buy through all these shitty secondary markets. Yeah, Craigslist where I used to buy, but now it's like StubHub and stuff. All right, I gotta go to the authorized resellers. Thanks, Rags. I'll go check that out. Kill him still trying to get me to go to. Oh, kill him! Your Euros are always the best. You already got me once earlier. You gotta just try to get me again, man. Yeah. We'll have auctions open up in a couple days. We're just wrapping up something. We have a new feature where auctions will be gated by roles as well, which is pretty cool. So we'll be adding that in. As you guys know, this is like build week, so we're not going to be as active as usual. But we'll still do like 4 or 5 live events this week, right? So you're going to see a few more. You're going to see the Reaper stuff is coming at you guys as well. I'll add a few more events here, but just know like we'll kind of keep it nice and simple. For all of you who stayed, since I went well over my time again, holy shit. This was fun. I appreciate you guys just kicking it with us. Let me give the first relic again, and then you know what? I'll give you guys a second relic because I'll be nice to you guys. Give me just a second. 1 second. Okay. Let me go to my laptop real quick. All right, let's just head to the secret chamber. I'm giving the same one right now. So this is Find Your Vibe ownership. On that. So I'm going to give that one out really quickly again, and then I'll get you guys a new one right after that. Ownership. So if you didn't get the first one here, this is your time to get it here as well. You got 33 seconds. Okay, the password is 02975. The password is 02975. Again, make sure you add the /secret blood in there. 02975. Wow, this is weird that this audience somehow grew back up to 290. We dropped down to like 230. And like it's actually cool. I love how active you guys are. You guys are an amazing community. Like I said, I'm gonna find out more ways to deliver you a real meaningful value for ownership. And then this one will be uh cannabis to Derby. Right. Well, we cover cannabis to goats. That's kind of what this conversation was. And also, I'm sorry for all of you guys who are not Manchester City fans. You guys are going to have a rough 2 to 3 years ahead dealing with Pep and Holland. Like, if you just have Pep and Holland, bro, I don't understand how it's going to be fun going to that league, bro. And De Bruyne, oh my God, De Bruyne is going to be amazing. Okay, yeah. I guess we did talk about coffee, but it's okay. I'll just leave it as cannabis and goats. Okay. Let's head to the secret chamber for that one here. Uh, remember, drugs are bad, kids. Don't do it. Okay. The password is 09735. The password is 09735. Oh, the password is 09735. Already, guys. Already. Thank you guys for sticking around for so long. I hope this was fun. We just kind of went a little bit serious, a little bit more fun. It gets kind of cool here to kind of have these types of fun conversations. I hope you guys all enjoy the rest of your day and your week. Hopefully, we'll chat soon. With that, I'm gonna let you all go. Bye bye now.